Hello everybody! Today we're going to be looking at the bootleg Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man 2.0. Is it going to be worth it? Let's find out. Alright people, so the first thing we're going to go over is price. This figure costs $15 before shipping and handling, and I gotta say that price really shows on this figure. If you don't want to watch me rip on it this whole review, I do not think this figure is worth it in the slightest. But I am still here to inform you of your purchasing power, especially because, I want collectors to have that alternate option of these amazing figures, but this is not the Amazing Spider-Man. So, up first are the accessories. The accessories are not bad. They're sculpted extremely well, and they're a great addition to any Spider-Man figure. The problem lies is that none of them fit where they're supposed to. The web effects here do fit into the web hands, or the thwipping hands, but the thwipping hands do not fit on the figure. The peg hole for the hands is way too big to fit on the figure, and it's just falls off, and it's really aggravating, especially if you're trying to pose it, which is what this figure is for. Now, that being said, these web wings, super useful, super great, and maybe great for customs, but the peg hole that is on the back of Spider-Man does not fit the web wings. You have to jam it in there, and even then the plastic that they used is way too soft to support the wings, and they just fall out. Now, the sculpting on the hands is great. It's all there. They're shaded decently well, which is a super big bummer, because I would love to put these on the figure and pose it around, but they just don't fit. The ones that are closest to fitting are the wall-crawling hands, but even then, they just fall off at the slightest touch, or if your desk wobbles just the slightest bit, they're gonna pop off, which is a really big shame, because this figure had so many things going for it out of the packaging, but the more I handle it, the more I just don't like about it. So we're gonna get into the figure next. Okay, so let's get onto the figure now. The figure looks absolutely amazing. The sculpt work is on point, so we should go over that first. The sculpting from the head down the body is amazing. The web lines are all there. There's even a texture on the torso, on the blue, running down the legs. It's amazing. You can see the musculature throughout the body, and it's done incredibly well. The feet look a little weird. I'm not sure if that's the way they are on the real one, but overall, does look amazing. The arms, the forearms, the hands, all look really good. And especially carries over to the back here. The spider sculpted super well. Paint is a little iffy though. The back of the figure is absolutely shredded. Looks like the Miguel 2099 from Across the Spider-Verse. That blue texturing is captured throughout the body as you move down, but stops at the blue, and the red has that nice metallic finish. Now, let's get onto the paintwork. So, they have this nice metallic red, but they tried to shade in the web lines on the figure itself, and it just did not work. They stopped on the right side and a little bit on the left. You can see it here and there and on parts of the mask, and it just doesn't look right. The shading, though, the shading looks amazing. They got the shading right in all the right places. On the feet, on the web lines, in certain spots, but they tried with the web lines and it just didn't work. The spider symbol is painted decently well. There are a few mishaps, so I don't knock credit because this is only a $15 figure. So, let's go over articulation. The butterfly joints work well. I have no complaints there. The head can look up about that much. Head can look down that much. The eyes do pop off super easily. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I wish they would stop, but it's just a thing that keeps happening, and the more I handle it, the more I don't like it. So we're going to leave that eye off for the rest of the video. The chest panel sticks out too far. I don't like it. I wish they were symmetrical. It just bothers me. And I know it shouldn't, but it does. Now, the legs. There's this weird cut in the legs. I don't know if you could see it there, but there is that gap, and it does expose the joint. You think it would be for better articulation, but they just pop off super easily. I do have that issue on my Real Deal Revoltech Flash, but I do not fault it for that, because it has gotten better with me playing with it or me posing it around. This one just seems to get worse. Another thing, at the knee joint. If I do that, it just pops off. I don't know why. I tried a super glue mod to make it tighter, thanks to D-Star Toys, but it just doesn't work. The toe hinge, super loose on mine. You know, and the feet fall off super easily. You know, I barely have to pull on them. Even posing them, they just fall out. This one is glued into place. Can't even bend it. Same thing with this one. When you bend it, they want to pop out. I'm trying not to have it pop out because I do not want to put it back on. The knee on this one, perfectly fine. You can almost kick his own butt and it won't pop out. So I'm not sure what's going on with this right one. It can go back that far for a crunch and that far forward on the crunch, which isn't bad. You can get them into some good posing if only everything didn't just start falling apart. The arms, same way. Try to articulate them. They won't articulate well unless you hold both pieces. The bicep swivel, absolutely glued into place. Can't turn it whatsoever. And like I mentioned, with the wrist pegs, these are nice. I like them. They do their job super well, super sturdy, but that peg is just too small to fit the other hands onto. Same thing goes for this arm. Glued into place, will pop off super easily unless you hold both parts. But all in all, this figure has great articulation, just falls apart way too easily, and I hope the Real Deal isn't like that, and it shouldn't be, or at least I hope it isn't. But I know I sound like I'm being super negative. I really do like this figure. I set it on my shelf next to my Revoltech Carnage and my bootleg Venom, and it fits in flawlessly. And I'm sure it'll fit in flawlessly with the Black Panther I have on the way and the Iron Man, which I will do reviews on once they get in. But this is a static pose figure. It's not going to articulate well, or at least mine doesn't. It falls apart super easily. But there are hints of greatness in this bootleg. I either just got a cheap copy and got bummed out because no copies are alike. But it's still, you know, you're still spending your money on stuff like this, and I just want you to be informed of, you know, your purchase. If you're looking to have this just on your shelf, go for it. I'd say I'd highly recommend it if you just want to add it to the collection and for it to just sit on your shelf. But if you're planning on posing this thing or taking photos with it, it's just not good. It is just not good. I don't recommend it too well, but let's put it back together for a scale test. I do want to thank everyone who's watching this video for watching my video. I hope you subscribe to stick around for the next one. I have a bootleg Black Panther and a bootleg Iron Man, both by Revoltech, coming in the mail. So those should be up within the next week or two. I'm sorry for being so negative in this review, but the more I articulate this guy or pose him around, the more he falls apart, and he's just not worth the trouble. I could tighten up all the joints, I could find a way to put the hands on, I could find a way to make the eyes stay in, I could find a way to get the legs to stay on, but that is worth too much time for your money. For these reviews, I'm trying to save you the time and money of having to fix the figure, or having to buy the real deal. I do have the real deal on the way, so that review will be up, and I will compare the two to see if I still think the real deal is worth it over the bootleg, and maybe something will change. Maybe the real one turns out to be like this. But until then, I just don't think this one is worth it.